And we're back live on your number one sports podcast, All Things Sports. I'm Small Town EP Wade Julian with me. The end of the road is here. The national championship game in men's college basketball is upon us. Number one, UConn will take on number one Purdue, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. June, Klingen versus Edie. Edie versus Klingen. What is Edie going to have to do to stop Klingen from going back to back in about the next hour?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more than just clinging, man. Edie's going to have to really dominate in a way that we might not have seen him do this tournament yet. I mean, we saw him do a 40-15 game versus Tennessee in that Elite Eight. And hats off to Edie, right? He was able to have a really, really good game versus DJ Burns and that NC State team a couple days ago. But it's just a different beast, man. This is a different beast. Purdue was the number one seed, 2 years ago. Last year they lost to Farley Dickinson, right, in the first round. 2 years ago they lost in like the Sweet 16, and they finally got over that hump. Finally got here. Edie got the monkey off his back as far as being able to take this team this far. But as we all know, it's not about taking them there; it's about winning. And yeah, to answer your question, I just think it'll got to be complete dominance on both sides, starting with shutting Klingen down, and it's going to be a tough task regardless. But I think he also just needs to pray before the game that UConn doesn't come out lighting it up like they did in that Final Four. Because, I mean, we saw a really good game from Wisconsin, UConn, right? And forgive me. Thank you, Alabama. Yeah, sorry about that. They were both shooting, they were both shooting the ball at a healthy clip. So I don't know that UConn comes out and just does it again. Like, obviously they're going to come out and play great basketball, but the way they shot the ball in the Final Four, they'll be grateful if they can get that from their players tonight. So, there is a chance for Purdue. He's going to need more than 20 points. He's going to need more than just a couple blocks, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that Bama game. I had Bama in the first half, man. The plus 6.5 looked too good to be true, and Bama came out swinging. They came out swinging, and it got ugly in the second half. Is pretty much what happened. I mean, I kind of see a similar game tonight. I do think that Purdue comes out swinging, but I don't think that anybody can stop this run that UConn's on right now. I mean, I think they will be back-to-back national champions this evening. We'll see Klingen on ESPN and probably on Sportsmanlike tomorrow morning, and face everywhere. And it'll be a UConn fest. But I do think it'll be a good game. I think that either Purdue covers the first half or they cover the whole game. I don't know if they do both. It could get ugly in the second half. You got any closing thoughts on the matchup tonight?
I mean, shout out to Ant Mark in the comments. AF and Mark, UConn's winning dog. Mark says Purdue after tonight. He's got the wheelchair emoji. It's crazy. Yeah, man. I think there's a chance, right? There's a chance. Purdue didn't come this far. How Kim Kardashian said, just to come this far, or whatever she said. So I'm gonna give them the chance, having a player like Zach Edey in the paint, clogging things up, and trying to make life hell for Klingen. But as I've said for the last 3 weeks, this UConn team is a team. Like, they play as a unit. They can shoot, they can drive, they can pass. Klingen is a good creator, from that inside out game, and seeing the backdoor pause. It just makes for a long night of defense if you're an opponent. And Purdue, I don't think has enough. Jones is going to be an X factor there, but UConn, man, back to back. And again, we've said this too. They might go again next year. So it's just kind of the state of college basketball right now.
Yeah, man. And Purdue, they had to get through Grambling in the first round, Utah State second round, Gonzaga third round, Tennessee, and of course North Carolina State. UConn. These just blowout wins all
Yeah,
throughout the tournament, man. 91-52 to Stetson, 75-58 Northwestern, 82-52. And last year's championship rematch against San Diego State, they had that game on their mind. Illinois 77-52, and then Alabama 86-72. The spread's at 7.5. I just think two number ones national championship game. It's too many points. It's too many. I think if we were seeing, and I get, and I'm only talking from the matchup perspective of it being two number one seeds that are meeting in the championship. I think that UConn
I don't
is
know, bro.
a solid, I don't know, 6 points
I don't
better,
know,
but
bro.
just the way
I
that
think that's a good. That's a good. I can't. Yo, it's crazy what pause culture has done to talking amongst friends, amongst the podcast about sports. Like, can't you gotta really watch what you say. But I think Purdue does cover. I think Purdue, has excuse me, Purdue, UConn covers, and I think UConn has a chance to win this game by double digits.
whew,
And I wouldn't be surprised if I see a 10 point winner. So shout out to Rip Hamilton. They're interviewing Rip Hamilton right now. Um, UConn legend, obviously. But we got 6 people in the live, man, right now. Shout out to you if you're watching
thank
this.
you.
Appreciate you, Rodney, in the chat. Free money, he said. That is free money. I do think it goes under. They got on ESPN Bet, they got it at 143.5. I definitely got to
Ooh,
tap
it's
in.
dropped the whole point since it was.
Yeah, before this game
Oh.
starts. So we gotta get out of here. Eat. No, I'm kidding. But hey man, shout out to UConn, shout out to Purdue. It should be a really good game.
Waiting for a good one. Waiting for the good one. Excuse me. South Carolina wins the women's college championship over Iowa. I mean, hats off to Don Staley and Camila Cardoza and company. I mean, undefeated. You know, just Don Staley lost all five of her starters from last season and still came back. Credit to her coaching, her staff. Lost all five starters, still came back, won a national championship with a brand new starting five. Now, on the other side of that, they did beat Iowa. Caitlin Clark's run ends in the championship game. Now, June, is this loss for presumed number one overall pick in the next women's, in the next WNBA draft, Caitlin
Yeah.
Clark, is it really a win? And hear me out, because the question sounds weird. You just lost in the national championship game, but hear me out. Is the impact that she has on the game, the future impact, the influence of bringing a larger influence and a larger image to the WNBA bigger than this loss in the national championship?
I, yeah, it is bigger. However, so it is bigger as far as transcending the game and what it's doing for, young women who want to be like Caitlin Clark or, want to be women's college basketball champions, want to go 38-0 like, South Carolina. It is bigger in that regard. As far as like, you know, legacy goes, though, I think that's a big thing too here because we're starting to see the conversation of like, hey, although she lost, is Caitlin Clark the best all time? And I watched Breonna Stewart at UConn, 4 times win that championship, right, and dominate. And obviously, UConn in their heyday, they're kind of like UConn literally just lost in the Final Four by 2 with seconds on the clock, so they're still competing. However, we have noticed a shift from UConn to South Carolina as far as the dominance. Coach Ariema, great coach, probably the all-time greatest coach in women's basketball. um, but Dawn Staley, what she's building right now as we speak, you mentioned they lost 5 starters. That's insane for them to build this powerhouse and be able to, just next 5, not lose a game, not skip a beat, and do it in dominating fashion. We were talking about South Carolina, uh like, oh, they blew that 17-point lead. They still won the game. But not to veer off too much, the ADHD kicks in here and there, but it is big for Caitlin Clark, regardless win or lose, what she's done for this sport. But to further the question and deepen the conversation, as far as that greatest of all time, yeah, I think that she's not. I don't think she's a top. She's not number one. I'll put it that way.
Ugh, I mean, even with holding the title of most points, men, women's, like even
Mm-hmm.
with that, I do think that it leaves a little bit of an asterisk as far as, I guess, if you want to talk about the goats conversation,
Right.
like you couldn't win it all, but I mean 30 points and 8 rebounds in a national championship game. uh, and you lose, what is it, 12 points, 75-87. It's tough. Yeah, like I said, it puts an asterisk next to the goats conversation when she's talked about. I respect everything that she's done. Obviously, she plays the game, I would say, the right way. You know what I mean? But it definitely does leave a little bit of an asterisk when it's like you couldn't win the big one, and you lost. You know,
But to be fair, like what she was able to do with that Iowa team, like back to back national championships, appearances, and we're talking about taking a team there. It's not like she didn't produce in the championship either time. It's not like she didn't produce throughout the tournament. She has done what she did all season. Um, and we just watched her, battle it against Aja Reese. We were just praising, how good Iowa played as a team, but they met their match. And I think we knew South Carolina was ultimately going to win the game. And I'm surprised Iowa kind of had the upper hand, or kind of led things throughout the whole first half until they didn't, right at the end of the first half, and then from there they weren't able to kind of get that lead back. And it's tough when you know you're known she's known to shoot, right? She can do much more than that. She's a great passer. um, she moves without the ball. She likes to involve her teammates, and she's a smart player. Does she need to work on her defense? Maybe showing more effort on that side of the ball? Definitely, because she shows a lot of passion on offense, but doesn't necessarily keep that same energy on defense. But again, I mean, she got this Iowa women's team to where they were back to back years. So hats off to her, a big credit to her, and everybody knows her name. If you know about women's college basketball right now, you know who Caitlin Clark is. So just credit.
no, absolutely. And I mean, once again, hats off to South Carolina. Camila Cardoza,
Yeah.
15 points, 17
17. Yeah.
rebounds, 3 blocks. Powerhouse,
Yeah.
powerhouse,
Tessa
powerhouse.
Johnson with 19.
hmm
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe we'll, like, we're talking about UConn, going back to back this evening. Maybe we'll see South Carolina, or we will see South Carolina in the Final Four next
100%.
year, and
100%.
possibly even in the national championship game. Right. I want to kick it over to the chat real quick. Michaela in there saying South Carolina plays fundamental basketball, and that Caitlin Clark did not have the help that she needed, which is also true facts. It's also true facts. She's out here scoring half the team's points, and there's other teammates in single digits as far as points, but double digits as far as minutes. Can't have it, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
We'll
No points off the bench is crazy. Sorry.
yeah,
No
yeah.
points
No
off the
points off
bench
the
is
bench
crazy.
is wild. Is wild. Is wild. I took a little trip yesterday. One of my little first outings up here in the beautiful city of Atlanta. I took a trip to Truist Park to watch the Arizona Diamondbacks that were in town take an L 5-2 to the Atlanta Braves. Hell of a game. Yo, Truist Park, man, one of the nicest parks that I've ever been to. I mean, it doesn't say much coming from a kid who grew up in South Florida, going to Lone Depot and back in the day, pro player. What we used to call it. It's cool to see a team with hundreds of years worth of history. You got the
Yeah.
Hank Aaron, kind of monument statue. The park is a bit small, but I mean, the food's great. The vibes are cool. The setup, I mean, is immaculate. Like I said, it has a little plaza on the outside, a bunch of restaurants that you can go to, watch the game, a little lawn on the outside right in front of the right field fence. Beautiful park, man. 2021 champions. I'm sure they put some extra money into it after that season. The Chop House is what they call it. In June, I was gonna get in the spirit. I wanted to get a hat. I didn't do that, but I definitely wanted to kind of take in the atmosphere and the vibes, bro. And they do the freaking the chop, And as a Hurricane fan, I'm
As a
embarrassed.
Hurricanes and a Chiefs fan, I'll give you that.
All right, so the Chiefs
I
do
did the
do it
chop,
as
bro. I
well.
did the chop,
I
bro. I
did the
did it.
chop, but all I could think of, well, I'm not gonna lie, was FSU. I looked at my girl and I was like, "Listen, hey man, I'll never do this at a Miami game. Would never ever do this at a Miami game." It definitely felt a little weird, but the atmosphere was great. The weather, 70s, Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
breezy. I mean, what else can you ask for? Definitely 10 out of 10. Recommend any trip or going taking
I
a
gotta go.
game
I gotta go visit
to
Truist, man. I'm
Truist.
gonna go. I gotta go see you in Atlanta, bro. Definitely gotta go see
It'll
you
be
and
vibes.
hit the ballpark. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe do something at night.
Now the Mets. Ooh, the Mets. Damn, I jumped the gun. The Braves do host the Mets in the series. Game one of the series is on right now. Top of the fifth. Braves up 4-1. Looks like deja vu to me when I'm looking at the scoreboard, except a couple more hits than yesterday. 7 hits for the Braves, 4 hits for the Mets. Ooh, I mean, you got Charlie Morton on the mound for the Braves. I mean, it's one of their aces, one of their starters. What else do you expect for a team to get up? Similar yesterday, man. The Michael Harris homer, the Austin Riley homer. I mean, that's why Austin Riley gets paid $70,000 a game. I mean, well, 212 $1 million over 10 years. He comes out to What You Know About That by Ti. Slaps a 2-run homer. I had to make sure he wasn't from Atlanta. The boys from Memphis. The boys from Memphis.
He knows the vibes though.
He
He's a
knows.
Southern boy.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was cool. And then the Diamondbacks, who just lost yesterday to the Braves, they're on a 4-game losing streak going into Colorado tonight. They lost the last 4. Last game in the Yankee series, they get swept 3-0 in Atlanta. They have lost 4 straight, 5 out of 6, but they're in Colorado tonight with Zach Gallen on the mound. Can they bounce back in Colorado tonight, June?
Yeah, I think it ends here, and that's more so uh, just Colorado not being as good of a team there. Um, you mentioned those losses. This is a team who was in the Final Four, last year, and has
World
a lot of
Series,
young
but yeah,
talent.
we just got done talking about.
I thought it was the no, but I wasn't sure if they got to the NL, what I'm saying,
No, yeah, I
championship,
hear
or
you.
if
It
they
is.
were
It
the
is.
team
You're
that
right.
played in the World Series. They did play in the World Series though. So for them to come off, this little slump, it's not necessarily so surprising because it is baseball. It's a long season. You got to find your rhythm. Um, the Rangers came out, kind of just hitting the same beat. Adolis Garcia is like super jacked, and
Facts.
the Diamondbacks kind of have regressed right now. But you mentioned Zach Gallen on the mound. You got to have all the confidence in the world, especially playing a team like Colorado, who hasn't necessarily found it just yet. Um, I, I would be interested to see if they lose this series, right? Like, what's the narrative going to be? What are we here to talk about? Are they gonna? It's super early. We're still in April, for God's sake, right? This is week 3, maybe, of the MLB season, 2 or 3. So
Yeah,
can't
about
take
to.
too much. Can't take too much from this. Um, Something to monitor. You know what I'm saying? Something to monitor. I would hope that they win tonight, though, for their sake.
They're going into the bottom of the first right now, tied 0-0. They did get a hit in the top of the inning, but did not manage to bring that runner home. So we got Blackman, Tovar, and McMahon due up 1-2-3 for the Rockies. The Boston Red Sox. You
Yeah,
mentioned to me pregame. I guess we can call it
it's
pregame.
pregame,
It's
bro.
pregame. This is game
It's
time right
pregame.
now. Red Sox have a lowest ERA in the AL East.
Talk about it.
Whew. I mean, we talked about it on last pod with Kev, and it's great to see. As much as it pains me to say, it's great to see the Red Sox,
Say
and
it.
the Yankees on top of the AL East. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, what are your thoughts? I know we just kind of touched on it last episode, but they
I'll
played a
say
couple
this.
times since.
Last year or in March, just before this year, we signed starting pitcher Brian Bello to a 6-year, $55 million contract. He gets an option for the 7th year. It's going to keep him in Boston until about 2030. He's our ace right now. And look at that. We got another Dominican ace in Boston, and we got the lowest ERA throughout 2 weeks of baseball. Again,
Uh oh.
it's all fun and
Uh
games. It's very early. It's nothing to get too excited about, but it is promising and it is a great start. It's the start you want. It's you'd rather, you know, be the team that has started off good and you don't want to be too happy about it rather than, look like the Diamondbacks where we're like, hey, well, there's still time. No, like let's get this thing going and going early. For the Red Sox, it's important. Pitching was an issue for us last year. It was one of our weak spots, and teams were able to take advantage of that. Um, it's not. We got a lot of guys that returned from last year, but this feels like a different team. The energy is high. It feels very positive. And also, we just signed our 23-year-old center fielder, Rafaela Sedane Rafaela. We're gonna have him for 8 years, $50 million deal. And what I like that we're doing is signing these young players to these long-term deals, and it's reminding me of what the Braves did a couple years back, signing guys like Michael Harris. They locked up Riley. Obviously, gave Acuna a nice chunk of change. Riley as well, deservedly so. But they do have a couple of those guys on long-term cheaper deals, and if they pan out here in Boston, Rafaela, guys like Bello, obviously we have Devers, try to keep him happy. This could be something for the next 5 to 8 years that we build upon. So shout out to our front office because I was pretty upset the last 2 seasons and off seasons of what's going on, what is the plan, who are we going to sign, and all this. But it looks to me that we're playing patient. Uh, and we're trying to find the right guys to be in this locker room. I wanted to jump in the chat real quick.
Facts. I was
Shout
I
out
was
to
do that
Jay.
too.
Fact. Shout out to Mark. Yo, it's mad funny. His man Ant said people be Mark with a K, Mark with a C, and this man is both. It's Mark with a Marck. But shout out to you. You got both the C and the K. So if they ask you how to spell it, be like, look, bro.
Both of them.
Yeah. And
Both of them. You heard?
shout out to Bro. It was Bro's birthday yesterday, April
Oh,
7th.
you word. Happy belated,
Shout
bro.
out to the family right
Absolutely.
there. Yeah, moving along here.
Bros in the chat. Bros in the chat. Yo, Otani just opened the top of the six in Minnesota with a double
And
stand
where?
up. And in Minnesota with a double. Easy. Standing, walking.
Mm.
So looks like he's not definitely improving. Not just looking to swing for the yard, swing for the
He's
yard,
not
right?
playing super anxious ball here. He's got a clear mind.
That boy took the over on his bases. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop. Oh man. Yeah, the MLB season. We're here. We're there. We'll move on to the NBA. The Heat. We were going into the last 11 games. General consensus between me, you, and Kev that the Heat would go 8-3 in the last 11 games. They are 4-2 since that prediction, so slightly on track, a little close to that threshold of three, losses. But what have you seen in the last 6 games, man? Let's get the Heat check into the episode this evening.
Fuck everything but last night's game. We lost to the Pistons. We lost to the Pacers, and it's just a game you had to have. You want to lock up the 6th seed. You want to get the tiebreaker between Philly. You want to have the tiebreaker between Indiana. You got to go on the road to Bakersfield Life Stadium, a place where we struggle in the regular season historically. Couldn't get it done. Behind Jimmy Butler's 27, Bam's 20, Jovic had 18. We went down early yesterday, and there was a valiant effort to fight back. Tyler Hero's been back inserted into the lineup missed a lot of time with injury, hit a couple clutch shots, kept us in the game late. But all of that was way too late, man. All of that was way too late. I don't know what it is about TJ McConnell versus the Miami Heat, but we cannot guard this man. We cannot stop this man. And uh, I think it was Miles Turner who they asked him about TJ McConnell, and he was like, I think that when they put the white boys on him, like he wants to prove a point. Like I'm that white guy, and that was his quote. So I could see that, and it's evident that he does, try a little harder, or the defense is a little easier when he's guarded by guys like Hero and Duncan Robinson. But this is the Heat check, not the Pacers check.
Facts.
Miami has put themselves in a hole in which they must climb out. Last year, they were able to climb out. They made the play in, lost to the Bulls, and then beat, I want to say Atlanta. I don't remember specifically who it was, but we made our, playoff seed, eighth seed, and went to the finals. Everybody's saying, hey, this team doesn't seem to be the same as last season. Don't expect that Cinderella run to kind of go back. And I'm not gonna say they're not, and I'm not gonna say they are. I think this team is this team that we are. It's a team that I've seen be able to turn it up. It's a team that I've seen disappoint. But that's much like every Miami Heat team. So that being said, we got to figure out how to get in the playoffs, not in the play-in. It's still a possibility, but it's going to be really tough. We're going to need other people's help, and if we do make the play-in, hey, you make your bed, you got to lay in it and figure stuff out. So I still have a lot of faith. Shout out to Kev. He's not here with us tonight, but you got to have the guts. We have enough, like Kev says. So have the guts, and it's put up or shut up at this point for Miami because um, yeah, we made the play in last year and we're able to get to the finals, but you don't want to just say, yeah, let's get to the play in. You would love to guarantee yourself a playoff spot, and as of right now, it's not looking too good. However, still some season left, like you said. We're 4-2 in the last 6, and I'm still optimistic on this postseason run we're about to head on.
Byron Buxton just made a hell of a layout catch for the second out with runners on first and second. I mean, I haven't seen an old man run that fast since, I don't know, Cat Williams a couple of weeks ago ran the 4-yard dash.
Wheels on him, man.
That boy got some wheels. But the same, like you said, it ain't the Pacers check and it definitely ain't the Twins check. So you guys are in Atlanta tomorrow night. Miami minus 3.5 on the road. You guys win and cover, or just win?
Minus 3.5. Hey, I could sit up here and say this all the time, but look.
Last road game of the season.
I remember when we played Atlanta on UD night, retiring his jersey, I thought we'd play with a little bit of pride. I thought we'd, win a game and not let DeJounte Murray hit a game-winning shot in our house. I was wrong. I thought last night we'd play with a lot of pride. And, hey, don't let Indiana get that one up on you. Try to secure what you can right now. As of right now, bro, I don't know. I do believe we cover. I do believe we win. But you don't know with this team. And that's also the beauty of sports, where you got to watch and find out. I'll be watching, and hopefully we do win. And for those who bet, hopefully we do cover.
I love it. Love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we cross this 30-minute mark, we're going to go watch this national championship game that starts in a couple of minutes. Entertain ourselves with some more MLB for the rest of the evening. Catch some late games, national championship game.
I gotta finish WrestleMania. Not to cut you off.
Ooh,
but yeah, WrestleMania was good. If you watched WrestleMania, drop it in the chat what you was excited about. But I'm on night 2. I watched night 1 completely, but I didn't get a chance to watch night 2 yesterday, so I'm catching up on it right now. I got the Peacock subscription and all that. I'm actually about to tap into Monday Night Raw too, because I'm excited to see. But I'm trying to finish WrestleMania so it can make more sense. But shout out to Cody Rhodes. Shout out to I Show Speed. Like, I Show Speed went from stream to WrestleMania. Like,
facts.
That is a dream come true to be RKO'd by Randy Orton on the announcers table at WrestleMania wearing a fucking Prime Gatorade
Drink,
Prime drink
yeah.
mascot. Crazy. Shout out to him. I got some shit to catch up on. Probably get on some spaces. Talk to my boy Brill and them boys. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you tapped in with us, man, we appreciate y'all in the chat right now. We appreciate y'all listening live. If you're gonna listen, on streaming platforms, we appreciate you as well. We'll be here Thursday, right? E?
We will be here Thursday, 1000%. This was your Monday night All Things Sports, number one sports podcast. I'm Small Town EP, your host, Wade Julian, here with me. If you tuned in on the live, thank you so much. If you're tuning in after the fact night streaming platforms, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us because you could have been anywhere in the world. We'll see you all on Thursday. Peace.